exposed. Former employees, silenced for years by NDAs and company loyalty, finally speak. One calls it the most elaborate illusion I've ever lived in. Stories emerge of unpaid vendors, empty promises, and meetings where execs reassured staff hours before mass firings. The narrative begins to shift. The media, once enchanted by Adam's vision, now dissects the lies. Trust collapses. Investors pull back. One sharp headline slices through the noise. Was it ever real? The illusion that sustained WeWork finally buckles. The truth can't be spun anymore. When the IPO is officially pulled, it isn't with fanfare, it's with a whimper. A quiet press release, a half-hearted excuse about timing. But Wall Street doesn't mourn, it mocks. The valuation, once a staggering $47 billion, craters to $8 billion in a matter of days. Analysts who once praised WeWork now call it the cautionary tale of the decade. Venture capitalists scramble to explain their losses. Employees sit stunned, watching their dreams dissolve. And Adam, he's gone. No statement, no apology, just a private car to a sprawling mansion in the Hamptons, tucked away from the chaos he created. While others clean up the wreckage, he lounges poolside, untouchable. Meanwhile, headlines stack like tombstones. The fall of a unicorn. We crashed. Start-up or scam. Internally, panic replaces optimism. The empire isn't wobbling. It's collapsing. One investor mutters, "We weren't just fooled, we begged to be." The freefall has begun, and there's no net below. Emails go out across global offices. Mandatory gathering, attendance required. Employees file into communal spaces, some nervous, others hopeful for clarity. Instead, HR reps hand out manila envelopes, termination letters paired with generic thank you notes, and in some cases, $200 gift cards. That's the severance. One woman collapses in a hallway, sobbing. She relocated her family across the country just months ago. Another employee, eyes hollow, posts a photo of her badge with a caption, "He walked away a billionaire. We lost everything." There are no farewell speeches, no acknowledgements of service, just silence broken by the occasional stifled cry. Security stands by to escort people out. Inside Slack channels, disbelief turns to fury. The company that preached community now discards its people like broken furniture. And as employees pack up desks, Adam Neumann relaxes in his mansion, untouched by the collapse. The dream is over, and for thousands it ends in heartbreak. After the IPO implosion, SoftBank steps in with a lifeline, a multi-billion-dollar rescue plan meant to stabilize the chaos. But as they peel back the layers, what they find horrifies them. Uncontrolled spending, toxic leadership, and a company bloated on fantasy. Quietly, they try to walk it back. Then Adam Neumann strikes. He sues SoftBank for $3 billion, claiming they backed out of a personal stock buyout he was promised. The irony is staggering. The man who ran WeWork into the ground is now demanding to be paid for it. Courtrooms become battlegrounds. Depositions reveal more dirt. Emails leak. SoftBank execs admit they were duped by charisma. Yet legal contracts bind them in ways even shame can't erase. Investors watch in disbelief as Adam, already rich beyond reason, fights for billions more. The man once hailed as a visionary now stands as the ultimate symbol of startup excess, unrepentant, litigious, and still demanding his cut. The silence finally breaks. Former employees, once bound by ironclad NDAs, begin to speak. Lawsuits pile up. Wrongful termination, securities fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. A leaked audio file surfaces, WeWork executives laughing in a private meeting, mocking laid off staff and dismissing investor concerns. The clip goes viral. Outrage spreads. Journalists publish damning exposés. Congressional committees call for hearings, demanding answers on how billions evaporated with no oversight. Pension funds, public school systems, firefighter unions, all invested through venture firms, realized the truth. Their money helped fuel Adam's empire of excess. One retired teacher in Ohio cries during an interview, "That was my future, my grandkids' future." Regulators circle, but it's unclear who can be held accountable. The machine was too complex, the story too seductive, the checks too large to question, until it was too late. The WeWork implosion is no longer just a business failure. It's a scandal with real human cost, and it's still unfolding. In the quiet aftermath, the true damage isn't measured in billions, but in broken lives. Former employees sit in living rooms filled with unopened boxes and severance letters. Many had turned down stable jobs for a shot at the we dream, believing they were building something that mattered. A former VP, once fiercely loyal, breaks down during an interview. "We built it, and he cashed out." Her voice shakes. Her equity is worthless. Her team is scattered. A janitor, once proudly handed stock options during an all-hands pep rally, now drives Uber to make rent. He still keeps the WeWork hoodie in his back seat. "Thought it meant something," he says quietly. There are thousands of stories like theirs, people who gave their best, believing in a mission that never truly existed. The pain runs deeper than job loss. It's betrayal, and it lingers long after the headlines fade and the offices are emptied. The final investor call begins, with a sterile chime and a long pause. Dozens of faces, hedge fund managers, pension reps, institutional backers, join from around the world. Everyone is waiting for clarity, an explanation, maybe even an apology. Instead, they get vague platitudes from interim leadership, legal, jargon and non-answers. There's no plan, no vision, just damage control. Slide decks show nothing new. Financials remain dire. The air grows heavier with each passing minute. Then someone mutes themselves and never unmutes. Another drops off the call entirely. Finally, after a long silence, a voice, soft, tired, breaks through. It was never a business, it was a story, and we all believed it. No one responds, because there's nothing left to say. These were the smartest people in the room, and they were all played. As the call ends, the screen goes black, leaving behind only the quiet, undeniable weight of regret and the echo of a lie believed. As WeWork burns, Adam Neumann walks away untouched, richer than ever. Over $1.7 billion in payouts, stock sales, and golden parachutes land softly in his accounts. There are no arrests, no clawbacks, no court-ordered apologies, just flashbulbs as paparazzi catch him stepping into a black SUV, sunglasses on, smirking. When pressed, he calls the collapse a journey of growth and insists he's misunderstood, not malicious. Behind closed doors, former employees seethe. Wall Street scoffs, the public rages. But the legal system shrugs. No fraud charges stick. No one's held accountable. What Adam did wasn't illegal. It was just grotesquely rewarded. He reappears at tech conferences, pitching vague new ideas, grinning like nothing ever happened. $1 billion debacle reduced to a footnote in his personal mythos. To him, it's a chapter. To everyone else, it's betrayal. And as the dust settles, the world is forced to confront a brutal truth. He got away with it. The camera pans across a silent montage. A former WeWork engineer, now bankrupt, forced to sell his home. A designer once featured in the company's branding now freelances. From a shared kitchen, trying to believe again. A recruiter works part-time at a retail store, her startup resume now a red flag. None speak with rage, only stunned disbelief. "He sold us freedom," one says quietly. "We got chains." They remember the slogans, the cheers at all hands, meetings, the Kool-Aid they drank willingly, but the dream was never theirs, it belonged to Adam. WeWork locations across cities now sit dim and echoing. Rent contracts, some 20 years long, still drain what's left of venture cash. Investors try to sell off furniture, renegotiate leases, salvage brand assets, but no one bites. The WeWork name is radioactive, synonymous with delusion. The physical, spaces remain. The value does not. In the fallout, Silicon Valley flinches. Venture capital firms quietly add new legal clauses, now whispered as the Neumann clause, to prevent unchecked founder power. Startups pull back on bold claims. Pitch decks drop their spiritual jargon. A strange humility settles in, temporary maybe, but real. The industry that once celebrated rule-breaking begins to reckon with its recklessness. For one brief moment, the myth dies, and no one claps. Years pass. The scandal fades from headlines, but not from memory. Then, like a ghost from a cautionary tale, Adam Neumann returns, clean-shaven, polished, rebranded. He introduces his new venture, Flow. The words are familiar: community, consciousness, disruption. He claims to have grown, to have reflected. He smiles more now, speaks softer, and still, investors lean in. Some write checks. They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but Adam isn't selling lightning. He's selling belief. And belief, it seems, is still for sale. Yet behind the curated optics, the same patterns emerge. Lavish ambition, vague promises, charisma over clarity, the same eyes. As the screen fades to black, the narrator's voice cuts through the silence, measured, mournful. He didn't fail up. We fell down, and we paid for it. Every last dollar, every broken dream, every unanswered question. That was the real cost of WeWork. And in that final line, the real scandal isn't Adam. It's how many let him happen, twice.